Hello. Today we're going to show you how to make a standing wreath arrangement out of flowers for a funeral. We're going to begin by taking this metallic skeleton. These are purchasable at any floral or craft store. These do come pre-made and they will have the foam inserted into the structure. However, we prefer to assemble the foam ourselves. This simply helps cut costs both for yourself but also save money for your customer as well, because they tend to be much more pricey than just these basic shapes. And of course, they come in a variety of different forms and styles, and they're very firm and secure, and they will allow you to assemble your arrangement and ensure that the foam is being kept inside very securely. But it also gives you the option of choice. So you can have a cross, you can have a traditional wreath shape, but today we will be preparing a heart-shaped wreath. And I'm just going to show you how to insert the foam into the structure and assemble your arrangement. And it's actually quite easy. To begin, you have to ensure that your foam has been pre-wet, and then you're going to take the standard size rectangle of floral foam, and you're going to visually estimate about a quarter of the rectangle. So here I'm simply cutting about a quarter. You're going to take that quarter and then you're going to cut it down the center. And this will give you the perfect width and height to insert into the metal skeleton that you're working with here. It's also a very efficient way to use the foam because all of the pieces will be uniform and you should not have any excess. So that way it is very economical for you as well. As you see, as you're assembling, you will notice that you will have a bit of gaps, especially in a structure like a heart, which has a lot of different curves. You will notice a few gaps, and you want to ensure that those gaps are filled, because if you are inserting a stem into the arrangement, you might have the stem hit oxygen instead of be firmly planted in the oasis. So you want to make sure that when you are cutting and putting these pieces in, that you trim them, and you might have to ensure that the shape is fitting. So as you see here at the very top of the heart, because the pieces are rectangles, you will have these little gaps starting to form. And all you need to do is take a piece of excess floral foam and insert it into that little gap, just to ensure that the stems, when inserted, are not exposed to oxygen and that they're firmly planted inside the floral brick. So as you see here, it's fairly easy. It takes almost no time at all to do this, and you have the base, and you've saved yourself some money, and you have learned how to create something from scratch. So the next step is securing these water foam bricks and ensuring that they are firmly attached to this metallic skeleton. So we're going to take some of this very elastic ribbon, and it's waterproof, and it bears the similarity to a garbage bag almost, in a sense, but this will essentially allow the water to become trapped inside of the structure that you've just created. That way you're not going to have the water coming out of the structure, you're not going to have anything falling out, you're going to have the oasis firmly contained inside of the wreath itself. It will not dry out as quickly, and it will allow your arrangement to last a very long time. So this is a very essential part. Ensure that when you are wrapping it around the arrangement, you are doing a very good job. You're wrapping it tightly. Since, again, this is a form that has a lot of curves to it, it is a heart. This is a little bit easier with a wreath where it's just a standard round shape. You might want to take your time and ensure that you're getting it right. Once you have finished this step, take a pair of scissors and you can secure it with some waterproof tape. The ribbon that we use, this plastic, this waterproof plastic, is green. It does come in a black color, but green is always better because it will allow, if there is any transparency between the stems of the flowers, it will camouflage that so it won't be as noticeable. So, and it will also mean that you'll have to use fewer flowers to fill in the gaps. So it's usually just more efficient to use a green ribbon. The next step is creating the ribbon. I like to do this as the following step after creating the base, and this will simply help me gauge the dimensions of the arrangement I'm creating, because when you insert the ribbon, you can work around the ribbon as opposed to putting it last where you have already assembled the flowers, and then it becomes a little bit trickier. I am using a waterproof ribbon, and this is ideal if you want to leave very long strands of ribbon and write a message. Some people enjoy writing condolences. Some people prefer to write their family names so that the recipient knows who the arrangement is from. And you can do this with a simple waterproof marker, and you can write a message. If you have a really good hand for calligraphy or very nice handwriting, you can do it that way. And it helps personalize the arrangement. And I do this as the second step before even arranging the flowers because it permits me to once again gauge the dimensions of the arrangement and ensure that I'm not using more flowers than necessary and that they won't be hidden underneath the ribbon once the arrangement is complete. And of course, you can determine what size of ribbon you want, what color, what you want to write, how long you want the streamers to be, whatever your message is, that is entirely customizable for you. Don't worry if you're struggling making the ribbon. This takes a bit of practice. We do have videos on our channel which explain how to make a ribbon, and if you watch those closely and practice, you'll be able to make a ribbon in no time. So as you see here, I'm taking a piece of wire. I'm securing the ribbon onto the arrangement, the wreath. This will simply ensure that the ribbon does not go anywhere. So I'm going to tuck the streamers underneath the arrangement so that they don't interfere with my arranging. But once that step is done, and once I have a sense of what space needs to be filled, I can proceed to inserting the flowers. I'm going to start with these chrysanthemums, and they are very full and very long-lasting flowers. And this will, as you will see, just set the pattern. It is difficult to pierce the plastic with a stem alone, so usually what I like to do is I like to take a floral knife and pierce the place that I will be inserting the flower. So that way I'm not cramming the stem in, it will not be breaking, it will not be prone to breaking, and it will just easily enter the water sponge without me having to force it in there and through the plastic. So do take your time to pierce the plastic and insert the stem. That way you will not be damaging the flowers unnecessarily. So as you see here, I'm inserting the chrysanthemums, and there are significant gaps between the flowers, and this just kind of sets the dimensions once again. And it's almost a paint by numbers structure, so it's actually very easy once you've set this base up. And this is a very novice arrangement if you think about it. All you have to do is visualize the pattern that you're looking to achieve, visualize the colors that you would like to use, and follow a very simple pattern and achieve this symmetry. So as you see here, I am putting the chrysanthemums around the heart shape. And I'm leaving a very uniform gap between the flowers. That gap will later be filled with more flowers, as you will come to see. The next step is I'm going to take these blush pink roses and I'm going to put it in between the chrysanthemums. You are, of course, completely permitted to use whatever flowers you like. If you like roses, if there are other flowers that you wish to use, that is entirely up to you. Since funerals often take a very long time and the flowers are usually sitting in a room in the funeral home and then they are presented during the funeral, it's a good idea to use long-lasting flowers like chrysanthemums, like roses. So try to avoid flowers that are exceptionally delicate and that can be damaged or bruised. White roses are very prone to bruising. Colored roses tend to bruise a little less easier. And just be thoughtful of that as well when you are picking the flowers that you are arranging. So as you see here, I am simply taking the roses and filling the gaps. You do want to pierce the plastic. Once again, even with roses that have a very firm stem, it's going to damage the stem if you're just cramming it in. So do take your time to follow these steps. This may all seem very nuanced, but it's very time efficient and you really don't need too much time to prepare this once you get a hang of it. So as you see, now I'm taking some ivory roses. And ivory roses, unlike the completely white roses, tend to be more long lasting and tend to bruise a lot less easier. So they are excellent to include in these arrangements as well. Ivory roses are actually very uh, lasting and can take a little bit of, I guess, a little bit of damage, a little bit. If you're transporting it, if you're leaving it in a room overnight, in a cold area overnight, they tend to handle those conditions a little bit better. So as you see, I'm inserting it on the side of the arrangement, and between the gaps I am using some filler. I'm using some baby's breath, but you can use whatever filler you prefer, some linoleum, for example. And I'm inserting the roses on the side, so if you are looking at the arrangement in your periphery, that space is also filled because you're not going to be looking at the arrangement entirely front facing all the time. So you do want to account for the sides of the arrangement as well. And the flowers that I'm using are all very long lasting flowers. As you can tell, they are very lasting. They will be able to stand in a room for a long time. They will be able to be transported easily, and they will hold up just fine. So try to avoid flowers that won't. So here I am simply filling the gaps, the spaces, and creating this patterned look. As you see, there's a very obvious pattern that starts to emerge. I have the chrysanthemums, and then I have the blush pink roses and the white roses on the side, filling in the gaps. So this is the finished product. But before we stand this up, we will need to fill the underneath space of the wreath with some greenery. I'm using salal leaves, and these are again very long lasting leaves. This is a very hardworking greenery. It's incredibly multi-purpose and universal, and this will just help you fill in the gaps between the flowers and the wreath itself so that none of that green ribbon that we use to wrap the foam peers through. You can also use some evergreen if you like. Evergreen is also very long lasting and multi-purpose and looks great when you are including it with a variety of flowers. Evergreen is not just for the winter Christmas season. It's incredibly multi-purpose and can be used all year round. Of course, you have a lot of artistic reign in this arrangement. You can use whatever flowers you like, whatever greenery you like, as long as you have a form that you're looking to achieve. So you see here I'm putting the greenery on the outside as well as the inside. Please do not forget the inside, because the inside can also look very sparse, very blank, and you can have, depending on the angle that you are looking at, some of the green ribbon peer through. So this is the final arrangement, and here I have a very sturdy stand. Again, this is available in floral stores. It's also very helpful when you are arranging something like this. I have attached a couple of pieces of wire to the back, so I strung it through the way I strung through the ribbon. And you can prop up your finished product on the standing metallic stand. And I would keep it like this for a couple of hours before delivering it wherever I'm going, so that the excess water can drip out, so that it's easier to transport, so it doesn't damage your vehicle, and so that it's not leaking. Also, I like to mist the flowers with just some water, just to ensure that they are very well hydrated. But this is the final product. Thank you so much once again for watching. Good luck in your creation. And please leave any comments below if you have any questions. And I look forward to seeing you soon.